I've noticed it on a couple of videos. Huh. What's up, everybody?
Hello, guys. We are finally together again.
We are
on
briefly.
Camera.
Briefly.
Briefly, yeah. The next couple weeks is not so much, but welcome. Sorry, we didn't have the stream up earlier. I literally just realized 5 minutes before we went live.
We're busy playing games.
Yeah, we were busy playing the game. Yeah, exactly.
That's usually our excuse every time for anything, by the way.
Yeah.
Paul and I like to cut it close,
but it really was this time.
Yeah.
So we've been out for some time now.
Yeah.
But this month was really good. I feel like I got some pretty good gaming in. I don't know if you did.
I can't even remember. We're gonna see.
I
don't even remember what I played. This month has been a whirlwind.
Been a blur.
Also, we're the Dads and Dice, by the way.
Yes. So, we are Dads and Dice.
Thank you guys for joining for sure. But yeah, this is our monthly review. What do we say? 28 games?
28 games, yes.
Pretty good for a non-con.
For a non-con, and I think we only got together twice to play games.
I had some family sickness.
Yep, family sickness, and then we did our Ironman last week, or half Ironman last weekend. So, if you are here, if you're listening to this, we did adjust some settings on the microphones. Let us know how that sounds. I think it should be better.
Tell us if we are blowing your ears out or you cannot hear us at all.
Yeah.
Or it's fine.
Or
you can tell us any of those three things. Perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's go
ahead and get into it, because it's been
bam. There we are.
There we go. So first one up, we have an Age Contrived. I'm gonna let you start with this one.
This game ultimately was not good.
Yeah.
That's the best way. This game, I don't know. It just tried. It's not even that it tried too much, and I like heavier games. This one was just bloated with, I don't know. I walked away and like, if I never play that again, it's fine. If I play it again, okay.
So how would you describe this game? This is a worker placement game where you have all these energy cubes,
it's almost
right?
like a tableau building action selection type of thing.
Yeah.
That's about the way I would describe it.
That's actually a way better way to explain it. Yeah, I'm blanking on the game because it was just such a miss.
You have that so you have the actions. You have this like conveyor belt. That's the best way to explain it. Of 5 actions, and your typical Euro rest action is to fill the conveyor and push it along. And you can do some things tweaking it where you make it move more or whatnot, but you put tiles down and basically you use the tiles when they're on the action that you want, and then each thing affects tiles along the top, sending them out on the board. I don't know. I think, was this a blowout? I remember I moved around a ton.
I don't remember. I can look up real quick.
Yeah, and I felt like I walked away like, well, that's how you win.
That's how you win this game.
And I felt like there wouldn't be much more.
Yeah, I remember reading about this game. Like when I first heard about it, it sounded pretty sweet, right? Like it sounded really good.
Yeah, it did. I was very excited when you text me this.
That we had this one, right? And so, I don't know, like everything about it seemed like it would hit, but it did not. It was 106 to 60. So you did. And you did blow out that one.
I don't know. It was fine. To me, it was too bloated.
Yeah,
I don't know. That's the best way to explain it.
It seemed like they tried to do too many mechanisms. Like you said, you hear this conveyor belt of action selection. That sounds really sweet. You have these magnetic components that sound really sweet, that you're building out these buildings in the middle. That sounded really cool. But just putting it all together.
Upgrade a billion different ways, right? You can
stuff.
Upgrade your conveyor tiles, or you can upgrade your, what else? The little in between the conveyor tile things, or I feel like there was something else. I don't know. It seemed like, you get more of the power tiles thing. I don't know. It seemed like it'd be really cool. ultimately it was just kind of a eh.
Yeah, but with all that being said, you'll see our playthrough of it come out next week, so still check it out.
Yeah,
it might be something that that interests you, but you guys know it is a blowout, and
oh yeah, sorry, spoiler.
Yeah.
Also, Ken, welcome.
Yes, welcome, Ken.
This is
Finally back to it.
I say the games are fun, but it is also fun doing this.
Yeah,
I
agree.
Doing both. So,
That
all
was
right.
an Age Contrived.
Ares Expedition. I played this solo. I played this solo like one morning before work. That's what I did.
Look at you having time before work now.
I know. Well, it's more like I send Lacey and the kids off, and now I'm up, right? So I found myself doing a lot of solos in the morning because it's like, well, I'm up super early. Yeah. But this was good. I had probably my biggest blowout in the solo. I don't know what went right for me, but I just got the right stuff early and built my economy super early, and I crushed the game.
How does the solo work with Ares Expedition? Does it work similar
to
the solo of Terraforming Mars?
Yeah,
to where you have
identical. You have 25 turns to terraform
the planet.
Yeah.
Did you play with the expansion?
No, I didn't. Yes, thank you, Ian. Kids are feeling better. We had, what is it they're calling that's going around? The norovirus?
I don't know.
Whatever. It's the big stomach bug, right, that's going around. And it basically just chunked our family one at a time. But yeah, so it's just like Terraforming Mars. I don't think that's the best solo. Now, it comes with a very good, like, scenario-based solo thing. I just didn't have time to learn that.
Yeah.
But it uses because you have your, you pick which action card you want to do. So it has an AI deck of the 5 cards, and so it randomly picks one of the 5, and every 5 it reshuffles.
Yeah.
So like that in itself is its own game of like,
it's already done these
it's
actions.
already done the green, I'm safe to do the green, because it feels real bad when you duplicate, and it happened probably 2 times, 3 times. It's going to naturally happen. Or sometimes it's like, he's got 3 cards left, I really need to play my blue because I need the benefit. You get a benefit if, it's more like you get the benefit if you play it. So I hope he doesn't duplicate it because I would like him to do it a later round, and then, that happens. But anyway, it's fine. I do want to play all of, I think Crisis it had like 3 expansions, Discovery, Crisis, and whatever, Foundations. And Crisis is the one that adds an actual solo mode. Discovery adds like more new stuff. It adds really cool stuff. Foundations makes it play up to 6. I believe is what they said.
So on a kind of different related note here, I was thinking a ton about Terraforming Mars this month. I ordered the Prelude 2, and I got the Automa expansion.
Now, do those come together or are those separate?
No, they are separate.
Have you looked at Prelude 2?
I have not.
I don't know that you want that.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it adds stuff with the base. It's not just for the expansions.
Are you sure? I thought it added preludes that specifically affect all the different expansions.
I'm gonna have to see that.
I'm pretty sure. Like it affects, turmoil and the whatever they call it.
If that's the case, then I'll be getting all those ones too.
Yeah, you should. You absolutely should. Actually, what people are saying is the Venus Next was always like the hardest to get stuff going, and what Prelude 2 is adding for Venus Next is the biggest, and it's making the Venus stuff viable strategies to actually do. I ended up, I was just looking around, I was like, hey, I'm just going to buy these 2. Like, I really want to solo Terraforming Mars, but I don't like the solo on with this solo, right? To terraform it before Generation 14. Like, I just don't like that. I ended up ordering those, and then I bought them and everything, and then I'm looking on the website, and I'm just like, ooh, there's also the expansion for the awards and milestones. I should buy that too, just because they're milking Terraforming Mars for everything that it's worth, and I love it. It's working. Honestly, I've been playing a lot with Venus Next on my phone. I think it's fun. What it adds is it's called floaters. They're clouds or something like that, but they're called floaters. They're basically a more universal microbes. That's the best way to explain it. They kind of took the microbe system and they made it better. And so that is how the floaters work.
I like microbes. That's
I do
one of my
too.
favorite.
Yeah, and so the floaters are really cool. It's just, especially when you have a lot of stuff, there's not enough Venus Next stuff to make like the floater. So they say what Prelude 2 adds is very good for it.
Well, I'm going to have to go back and look at that and make sure, and then if not, I'll be ordering.
Pretty sure that's how it works.
You generally read stuff before you buy it. I just buy it.
Yeah.
So, I'll trust you.
I don't know. You should go buy Venus Next and Colonies. I actually really like Colonies too. So.
Which one is the one that adds the...
Turmoil. Turmoil is the one that adds the, what is it called?
A board
the chairman.
of something?
The
chairman. Okay.
Board of director or chairman or whatnot. I have not played with that one. Actually, ironically, the first time I ever played Terraforming Mars, I played with Venus Next. I played with Colonies, and I played on one of the
the different maps, like Hellas or whatever.
Yeah. That was the very first time I ever played Terraforming Mars was that. And then I started playing with you and Joe, and we always just played base, which was fine. I loved base too, but it's like,
you regressed.
Yeah, like exactly. I was like, oh, I know what's coming.
Nice.
So,
yeah. Anyway, side note there.
Yeah, that it was Ares Expedition. Buru. This one I think is going to be very good. More players, right? Single player sucked. Yeah. But this was lockup, right? Like that's like 100% what it felt like to me. It's the hidden, they called it bidding. It's not necessarily bidding, but hidden placing your people out there, trying to take over areas so you can do the benefit first, or maybe you don't care and you can be last. And so there's that strategy of like, oh, I'll just place my number 1 over here and be last because all I want is one of the effects or whatnot.
I just need presence in this area.
Yeah. So really neat. And there's only 4 areas. So I want to play it with 3-4 people. I think it plays up to 5.
I was going to say, I think it
plays up to 5 or 6.
Yeah.
But yeah, honestly, it is very neat. Boomer indeed. I don't know why you're saying that there, Shelby, unless...
Tonight is Texas, Oklahoma.
The game isn't tonight. It's
this weekend, right?
Yeah, okay. That's it. Yeah. I
don't know any football, and I know that.
I was like, what's tonight?
I guess it's not tonight.
It's tomorrow, though. You're right. My days are off, I guess, after last weekend and traveling. But yes, you are correct. Shelby, are you coming down? Is that why you're getting all excited? Are you going to just drive right by my house and not say anything? But yeah, I think the solo, I completely trounced it, right? And the scoring was so atrocious, I will never play it solo again. But I actually...
And super overproduced.
Yeah, now, when it comes to... Paul, you didn't get a C, but I have to pull this out here real quick. Quick sidebar. You couldn't see it on the actual screen, but I have to show you in person.
Shelby not coming down, but you are coming down in 2 weeks, so this is ridiculous.
That's the first player marker. That's what that is. That's all that is
first player marker. A solid,
and it's a solid piece of metal. I mean, all of these little like spirit tokens are nice wooden ones, you know.
And what are the point of these?
Nothing. It's to be like, I control this spirit for the round, you know?
This is mine that you can have here in a second. This thing is heavy.
Yeah, I know. Insert, great, top notch, room for all the expansion stuff. So, yeah, way overproduced, but...
yeah, we'll try that one out here. Actually, maybe when Joe comes down in a couple weeks.
Yeah, that might not be bad.
So,
no, you're not going. Okay. So that was it. Cascadia.
I got to play Cascadia Rolling Hills. I think last month I played Rolling Rivers. Or maybe that was this month also. I don't remember. But this is just a roll and write version of Cascadia.
The player board, just because it was like here's
everything
here's
else.
4 zones, you know. Yeah, I can definitely see that, Devin.
But yeah, so this is just a roll and write version of Cascadia. It comes with 4 different maps, and they just kind of increase in difficulty. There's a pair of like community dice, and the resources that you're collecting are just the animals, right? So you've got your bears, your hawks, your all those kind of things. So you have the community dice that you roll, and then you have your own personal dice that you roll, and you choose one of the animals to collect, right? So if there's 3 bears out there, you would get 3 bears. If there's 4 salmon, whatever, you would get 4 salmon. You'd write that on your paper, and then there's like a card river that comes out of different areas, right? So it says like for this card it costs you 4 salmon, 2 elk, and 1 fox. So you cross them off of your paper, and then you actually don't take the card, but there's a number on there and you write it onto your map, right? So if you connect on the first map, if you finish a whole row, you get some bonuses. If you finish like some of a column, you get some bonuses. So there's just bonuses for collecting stuff. Overall, it's a very simple roll and write. It's a fun roll and write. It's nothing new, nothing crazy, nothing whatever. Cascadia Rolling Hills and Cascadia Rolling Rivers, the exact same game, except for I think the last 2 maps, but the first 2 maps are the same. So the dice are slightly different. There's different bonuses that you can get and stuff like that. You can combine them. You can use whatever dice you want. You don't need both of them. Honestly, just kind of pick the one that you like the artwork of better, and that is the one that you'll play. But it's fun. I mean, I'll play it anytime. It's not going to be like my go-to kind of game. It does play really quickly, so that's nice. I got to play it, I had 15 minutes, 20 minutes at one point, and I had it in my bag and just played it. One cool thing that I do like about it is the pine cones. So like in normal Cascadia, right, those pine cones are kind of like your, it mitigates something. I don't remember off the top of my head, but it's like your mitigation of something. It's what clears the tiles or
lets you mispick.
That's right. So the pine cones here, they let you, I forget, up convert or down convert. So like the resources are set in a certain order. So like the salmon are the most common, and then above that you have, we're gonna say hawks. So like if you spend 1 pine cone or 2 pine cones, you can up convert all the salmon into hawks of the dice, right? So like if there's nothing on the dice that you want, you can turn them all up into the next one or the one underneath that. Or if you pay 3 pine cones, you can get mismatching things. Like I can get all the salmon and all the fox or whatever. So that's a pretty nice little dice mitigation thing that they got going on there. But overall, just a simple roll and write, and there's different bonuses and stuff like that. But yeah, it was good. It was enjoyable.
Okay. Next up, Cat in the Box. This was one of the games from our most recent haul that I was really most excited for. Did not let me down. This probably will be my go-to simple trick-taking game. I thought it was so cool.
That's high praise. You've played a lot of them.
I have. This one was just really cool. So the whole idea is every card is black and white, and you decide the color when you play it. So like if I play the 4, I decide then it's the blue 4.
Okay.
And so now the blue 4 has been played, and there's this little board that you mark that you played the blue 4. Now nobody else can play the blue 4, right?
Okay.
And so you decide when you're going to trump, and that basically will say like, okay, so maybe I really want to win this trick. I'm trumping it with whatever the 2 red is the trump, right? So I'm trumping it with the 2 red. But now I have to mark that I no longer have blues because blues were currently being played, and I'm saying I no longer have blues. So later,
I can't
use blues, right? So you can get in, they call it a paradox, if your hand is nothing you can play because you can't play everything. You can't play blues, but you can't play any of the 3s either. Anyway, so I think it is so cool, and truthfully, what I like the most about it is Lacey, her mom, picked it up instantly because those 2 have played Hearts and Spades a billion times, so like they completely right away understood like the catch of the game.
That's interesting.
So
that's what I was just about to ask you. Did you play it with your family or her family?
Yeah,
and did they
with
actually
hers.
understand it?
Yeah. I mean, so we played a ton of both Spades and Hearts with them before. So it's one of those, if you know trick taking, like you'll have zero problem.
I was going to say, you explaining it to me makes no sense.
Yeah,
to me,
you'll have zero problem getting into it, like, because it's just trick taking, but with this like catch, so you just understand the catch type of thing.
That's awesome.
So yeah, that was Cat in the Box.
Up next, we have Creature Caravan. So this is the newest release for Red Raven Games, which, side note, I also did just back Above and Below Haunted. Did you back that one already?
I did.
Yeah, super excited for that one. That one looks awesome.
I did. I spent
10th
way too
anniversary.
much money.
Did you get the upgrades for Above and Below?
Yeah, I bought way too much stuff.
This is the newest one that just released. And this is a tableau builder, is really enjoyable. So you have this board with 25 spaces on it, and so really the story is you're leaving one part of the town and you're trying to make it to East Ray. The goal of the game is not to make it there, but you get more points the further out you go. So as you're traveling through this area, this is a dice worker placement game. So you have dice, you roll them, you have a player board, and some of like your basic actions are like move through this type of terrain, move through this type of terrain, get food, which is what you use to buy cards, get items, which is stuff that you can trade. So you just have this basic set of actions. You also start out with this hand of cards that allow you to upgrade those actions or get some type of every turn bonus, or every time you do this bonus. And so those are the creatures that you're adding into your caravan to help you push along, right? So on your basic playing board, it's move one space. Well, you might be able to play somebody that lets you move through 2 spaces if you have a 6 or something like that, right? You can only ever have 12 creatures in your caravan, so you can't go over that. And each of these cards has some type of scoring condition on it. So every character has different like characteristics. So like it might be a shy, tiny, nocturnal something, right? Another card might say, if you have 4 nocturnals, you score this. So you're really trying to decide which card do you want to play that's going to benefit your actions, but also is going to boost your endgame scoring. And then there's 2 other boards. One of them is the trading board, so you can trade in food for money. You can trade in money for food, which then lets you buy those cards, or you can trade in those items for food. And then there's another board that is the Ember Zombie board. So as you're traveling through town, some spaces might have zombie attack places and they attack you. Some of your actions are also like attack actions, so you can place a dice on there and attack them at that strength. And it's got this really cool kind of if I place a token on the 3 coin trade, you have 1 round to access that 3 coin trade as well, or else like it's going to be locked out. You'll be locked out of it. Same kind of thing for the fighting. So it was really good. I really like the decision space in it, and then like the balancing of what cards do I want to trade away for resources, what cards do I want to play because they're going to give me better actions, and what cards do I want to play because it's going to give me better endgame scoring. Really liked it. You can, I don't know, it's really kind of like a multiplayer solitaire, because the map, there's no blocking or anything like that. Really the only player interaction is that trading and that zombie board, but honestly you can just ignore those and play your own thing. So really good. It's definitely one of the lighter Red Raven games. It's nowhere to the level of like Now or Never. I would probably say it's around that Above and Below kind of level, maybe a little bit lighter, but really fun, really enjoyable.
I'm sure we'll play it. So.
Yeah, we will play it.
Okay, next up, Dice Realms. This one was interesting. This is like...
it's another one we got in the haul.
beefed up, what is the
Dice Forge?
Dice Forge, right? You're making your dice.
Beefed up Dice Forge, huh?
Yeah, that's how I would describe it. Not significantly beefed up, but beefed up.
Okay.
And yeah, that's how I would describe it. Lacey really enjoyed this game quite a bit. But yeah, you're making your dice better, all to score victory points, and that's really it. It's a engine builder in that sense. It has attacks, but they're not like necessarily super mean. So it's just kind of a part of it. I don't know. It was really cool. It has like, I don't remember, 4 different colored dice faces, and so like you can beef them up upwards or laterally if you wanted, like, I want this orange face to become a green face instead type of thing.
Interesting.
And like maybe I go hard and green face type of things, and I don't know, it was really cool.
So I remember you had said with this one that Edward from Heavy Cardboard said he really enjoys this one, but he doesn't play it because of the fiddliness.
Yeah. No. What? Yeah. So he made a list that was like games worth playing. What was it? It was games worth playing
that are fiddly or something.
Fiddly
like
games
that,
worth playing or something of that nature. Yeah, because you're popping out like every single dice face a lot.
Is it like the same kind of popping as Dice Forge?
I mean,
it's not.
It's not identical like Dice Forge.
Are they flying across the room?
They tell you like put your thumb here, type of thing, and everybody has their own little tool. I don't know. Now that I remember, it has a neat like. The currency is like virtual for the round, so like you get 6 coins to spend. It's very much like a deck builder.
Okay.
In that, like you get 6 coins to spend this round
and use it or lose
different ways to use them, whether it be upgrading or buying more dice or whatnot.
Interesting.
Yeah, that was cool. It was dice realms. Ezra and Nehemiah.
Is this you or me? This must have been me.
This is you.
This was me. Yes, I remember this one. So Ezra and Nehemiah, I got to play this one. I got to solo it. I don't remember why I soloed it, but I just wanted to play it. When I set this one up, so I did it solo. I was studying the board, and I noticed there was these scrolls right next to each other that were pretty good. So the scroll that I really wanted to get was one that was you get to tuck it and you get to score that card twice, right? So whatever scoring card you have, you get to score twice. So early on, that was kind of my game plan, and I was able to tuck my card that scored the rows of your highest scribes, I think is what they're called, so the people on the scrolls. Well, since I knew that was kind of what my end goal was, I ended up getting 2 people up pretty high, pretty early, and I was able to get tons of points from that. Generally, when I'm playing this game, I hit a lot of... I try to do some red. I do like going to the altar and moving up the altar track and building on the temple a little bit. I completely ignored it this game, and I went heavy on building and heavy on the scrolls. Ended up having my highest score yet. I think it was like 109 to the bot being like 80 something. We've mentioned it a couple times. The bot doesn't make the best decisions, but it's still fun. It allows you to try out different strategies, and that was really kind of a different strategy that I haven't done in this game, and had a good one and really liked that. So
I'll talk about it now and skip over it next month. But I played this a couple days ago, solo as well, and I don't think I cheated, but I scored like 130.
that's very
And
high.
I'm like, it didn't seem right. But I also am like, I cannot think of a single time where I did anything wrong.
Yeah.
Again, you tuck the teacher first thing. Like,
Yeah.
if you're ever going to play this game, you tuck the teacher first. But all I focused on was the red track until I couldn't do any more, and then I did the gray track. And so
Did you get like 1 or 2 scrolls maybe?
Yep. So I got they were right next to each other. On the third row was 2 scrolls that one was when you hit the flames, you get a food and money, and then underneath or right next to it was you pay 2 less for putting the Levites in, right? So that's why I went red, right? Because those 2 were next to each other. Really, that's not what I think won me the game. I mean, I did take advantage of that for sure. So yeah, it was partly the scroll underneath it that I used to step up for. And so I got, Ezra was on the left side, so I got him.
That's the builder, right?
The blue one.
Blue,
yep.
Yeah.
Then the next one I got was when you make a trade, you can either get a coin or do the development. And then the 2 above it were the ones I just said.
Yeah.
So round 1, that's all I did. I got those 4 scrolls in round 1.
Used them for the rest of the game.
Went ahead and put 1 Levite in and got an altar bump so that I was in between the guys. And then round 2, I maxed out my Levites. I put 4 in round 2. And round 3, I filled the temple, and when I couldn't do any more, I just built.
So that's really funny that you're saying that that's the strategy you took. Literally, it was either today or yesterday. Garfield Games, they did a post a while ago on Instagram that was like, tell us your best strategy for a game, right? One of our games, and we'll give away something. They posted one about this game either today or yesterday, and that was basically the winning strategy that won the giveaway was max out red.
Maybe it was me.
Yeah, it was not you, but it was max out red as much as you can. Get the one that the scroll that you said that the 2 less food, right? And then also they said the scroll that would allow you to trade. I don't remember. It was one of the trade ones. But they said basically just focus on red, and then as soon as you're done with red, get in front of the altar track, and then just start building. Just knock out all the buildings.
If it's the trade for, I think it's 2 cheaper on bottom.
Yes.
I think that is the best scroll in the entire game. I think hands down that is the best scroll in the entire game.
And then they said do the food and the money one.
But I traded, so I get 1 coin when I traded or do the development. I traded every single round, and so I never had. So I had so many coins, and it allowed me to do so much. And then once round 3 came, and I finished the temple, right? I was doing my developments mixed in there. I did 4 of the 5 developments, but once round 3 came. When you max out the columns of the temple, you get a coin per Levite. And when you have 6 Levites in there and you do it 3 times in the round, right? I had so many coins that
You're just doing all the trades.
Yeah, and but I made sure I always did the trade, whatever it was. I don't know. I got all of my people basically almost by the 3rd round. I had 1 person left to get in the 3rd round.
That was the other part of the thing, was to get your people as early as you can and use them as much as you can.
Now, I do think it is only possible to get your people if you're doing red. Because you have to be the altar leader to get the free people. But yeah,
that's one great thing about this game is there are so many different strategies. Because I think you normally ignore red, don't you?
Yeah, well, I mean, I couldn't. Those things were right now. Like there was a very clear path. It's all about the whatever's in the temple, right? Like that dictates the strategy for the game. You can never like go into it being like, I'm going to build, because if you do, you'll lose. The person that takes advantage of the scrolls will win, and. But I'm the trade one, and I honestly have thought to myself, because I think the one that you trade the bottom for 2 less is so good. I thought if you ever got both of those, you got the trade for 2 less, and then you get a coin when you trade, like
you're good.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. But yeah, so
quite a bit there on Ezra and Nehemiah. All right, Hadrian's Wall. I think this was both of us, but you can go ahead. Was this you?
Yeah, I played Fort 15. I don't know. I did it.
Yeah.
Nothing too remarkable in it. I have one fort to go.
Yeah, I ended up just playing it. I didn't do one of the forts. I just busted it out playing it, which you're just wondering why would you ever do that. But I had
I'm
just
actually curious of that.
yeah, I don't know. I just had it and wanted to do it quick without thinking. I just wanted a do what I always do kind of game. But I had just backed the Anarchy and Scarbray, and I was like, ooh, I want to do a adjacent game. So I
don't think the game is bad. I've just now played it so much, like I know what to do, right? Like all of the things that I used to do a lot, I never do, right? Like I used to always. What's the second? There's the top row of citizens.
There's the markets.
The top row is the second one is the entertainment, right?
Yeah, I never do that one. That's what the gladiators.
No, not the gladiators. The other side of it.
That you need the entertainment for the gladiators.
So I would always do the thing that gave you free bumps, right? Because I was like, oh, get free bumps, you know. So I'd always do that, and I'd always do underneath
priest.
that is the temples.
Yep.
Not the temples, the
priest, I think is what it is.
Gardens.
Yeah.
There's two different gardens, right?
The small and the large.
So I would do both of those things to get my bumps, right? I bet in the last, I'm going to say 6 to 8 playthroughs, I haven't done either of those things a single time.
Really?
I don't do them anymore, right? I'm like, hey, I realize they don't actually like get me points or benefit me, and it's much better to do other things because I used to, it would always be like, I want free bumps, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm going to get free bumps. You know, and the gardens seem great because you get 4 free bumps, right? And then the other one, you get 6 free bumps. I don't ever do either of those anymore. I do at this point the same thing, or whatever the special thing is, I do it, and then like
the rest that you've been doing.
Is like all just, it's automated.
Rote memorization.
Yeah, it's automated at this point.
I find the priests so strong, like the gardens.
Yeah, you know what? You play the game 20 times, you realize the gardens aren't as strong as you need.
I've played it more than 20 times.
The gardens aren't what you need anymore.
Interesting.
Yeah. I'm telling you, gardens was always one of my early things to go for. I don't do those anymore at all. So.
What's up next here?
I do them on some of the challenges, or one of the challenges was fill up all your temples, right?
Oh.
So, like, obviously, if you're going to go that route anyway,
you're going to do that anyway.
Then you're going to do that. But other than that,
temples are one I never do. I never do temples.
I did it for that. Same thing, gladiators. Never did gladiators, except for you have to have 12 gladiator strength or whatever it is, 10. I can't remember. But I did like the campaign because it made you do each strategy fully at least once, right?
Yeah, it lets you explore the game.
That's what was neat. But yeah, temples, I think, are... there is like... you have to put so much into it for such little benefits, right? It's the only way you can do whatever that purple track is, like heavily. But you have to put so much in for that, and then it's for being safe on 3 pick attacks.
Yeah.
It is much better to just build your defenses than it is to have
and then if one comes through, go to the bath.
You know, occasionally in games, if I ever had the extra, I would do the first temple because you only put 2 people in it, and it's like, okay, well, I can do 1 rogue attack. The other ones were way too much. So anyway, Hadrian's Wall.
Inventors. Speaking look at that. That's 3 in a row.
Was it? What was the other one?
Ezra, Hadrian's, and Inventors.
Yeah.
I'll start on this one. So this is the 3rd game of the trilogy from Inventors of South Tigris. I think you had just recently got it. I think you'd played it solo twice, and then you came over on a Sunday, and we ended up playing it. I was very overwhelmed by that first playthrough. This is definitely by far the heaviest game that they have ever put out. What I think. Now, also,
I think most people agree to that for sure.
With that being said, you know, it was a Sunday afternoon. My daughter was running around, sitting in my lap, trying to learn the game, all that kind of stuff. So I believe you destroyed me on the first game. And I just didn't understand it. There was just nothing for me to, I don't know. It just didn't make sense. And then you started talking about it a little bit more, and what it seemed like was the workshop section on there. It's kind of like the engine builder of the game, and you really need that to kind of produce more resources to get better actions. That is not the type of game that I generally enjoy. Anyway, got destroyed, figured, oh, this is not going to be one for me. You ended up leaving it at my house and actually set it up that night for a solo gameplay, which I played the following night. And I actually got to like sit down and explore the game a little bit more. And it sort of started to click a little bit. I was like, okay, this is starting to make sense. Like this connects with this and this connects with that. There's just so many like interconnecting parts. And then right after that game, I believe I still lost to the AI. And I think I might have even had a worse score than when I played with you. But I was like, it made more sense to me. So I set it up again. The next night, played another solo. And it was like that night, like it kind of clicked, right? It started making sense. I did end up beating the AI that second game.
Nice.
I believe I did. If not, it was really close. But I felt much better about it. So with all that being said, definitely the heaviest game, and it's definitely one that, at least if you're similar to me with games, you're gonna have to play it more than once to really understand it. Because if I would have just gone off that first playthrough, I probably would have never played it again. That's kind of how I felt about it. But now I'm also kind of like itching to like, ooh, let me play it again. As soon as I finished it, I told you, I said, I will never beat you at this game. Like, I feel like in Scholars, I at least have a chance, right? Like, every now and then there might be a fighting chance. But with Inventors, there's no way. Like, that's just not in the cards.
You did beat me on Scholars, technically. You didn't win the game, but the game me, you, and Joe played, you did outscore
That's
me
true.
there.
That is true.
I just
didn't win the game.
Win the game.
So I did play that one better than you that game.
So you can take that for what it is.
There you go.
But yeah, it's like I told Paul, I think after we played it, or maybe before we played it, I'm not sure.
It was definitely after.
It is one that like every single decision you make matters. Every single decision. There's not one turn that is like we'll call it a chunk turn where, I'm just doing this, collecting income or something like that. Everything you do matters, and there's so much to think about, right? From what cards you want to play to eventually, because really when you talk about it in the grand scheme of things, the cards you're going to publish or build are not that many points, right?
No, they're really not. And that was really what kind
of it
threw me off.
But it's enough that it matters whenever you've done it 3 times, you know. And it's one that I think you looked at initially, like an Ezra and Nehemiah, right? Where, I'm not going to focus on that, right?
Yeah.
But it's not that kind of game. It's I think I described to you like a weather machine where you have to play the whole game. You have to interact with the workshops and with the river and with the inventions. Like that is the entire game. If you ignore one, you're ignoring a third of your game, and so I think that probably is what helped you realize.
For sure. That's exactly what it was.
I'm going to do everything.
Yeah, that first game, I completely ignored the workshop because that doesn't intrigue me.
Yeah.
Right. And so exactly like you said, right? I was focusing on, this is my end game thing that I need to have published because it's going to give me this points. And then when we were scoring, I was like, that was 2 points. That was 4 point. Like,
yeah,
playing that workshop would have been, double that or whatever, right?
Absolutely.
So,
I want to play this game more so I can get more of a feel for it. It's probably one I would never attempt to play at 4, but I would like to play at 3 to beef up the invention interaction, right? I think there would be a whole lot more of I'm the builder, you're the publisher, right?
And I'm testing it.
Yeah, or maybe I'm going to really focus on inventing, and you guys have to pay me the coins as your public. I don't know. I think there can be more. It's not necessarily a zero-sum game at 2 players, but it is like, oh, well, you're publishing, I'm building, and we're both going to get the same 4 points out of it type of thing. I think there would be also more... there'd be more testing, which gives more incentive to publishing, right? Because there's a lot of times where it's like, ooh, Paul's built this. If I publish it, basically I'm giving him 3 points, because there's no testing die on it. And so, like, there would just be more of that. So I definitely want to try it more. You had said, you hope that they scale it down from this game, right?
Yep, for the next trilogy.
And my thought is, I think this game is very good, and I would hope that they don't, solely because there's 1.5 million publishers that publish in that, like, we'll call it medium weight Euro, right? Like, I think of, a lot of the Red Raven games, right? They all publish in there.
All of the ancient anthology.
There are very few that do the heavy end well, right? We talked about an Age Contrived earlier. It's very easy to make a overly complicated, rules-heavy Euro, and it fall flat, right? But it takes the, something like this from Shem or the Vito Lasardas, or it takes... There's just not many of those that make this weight really well, and I enjoy this weight, so my hope is do more of these, because I can always get another, we'll call it architects, right? Like, there's plenty that fall into the West Kingdom.
Very true. Games, well, and so going into that also, right? Like, it's not like Scholars for me is a good weight, I think, right? Like, I think this one just had a lot more. And I've talked about it many times before. The heaviness of this game is not the mechanics, right? That's not what it is. It's the planning, the making sure that you're doing the right move at the right time to be the most efficient. Same as what Paladins was for me before, right? And now I've kind of grown into that, and now I kind of know what to do.
And I was going to say, I compare this one very much to a Wayfarers, in that, like, if you think of Scholars, every turn, what are you deciding? You're deciding one of 4 actions, right? And that's it. This one, you're deciding, there are 4 different, let me think about it. There are 4 different camels type actions, right? You publish, invent, test, build, test, right? So 4 different of those. There's your 3 different workshops, and then placing workers on a plethora of actions, right? So we're 7 core actions, and then I'm going to say roughly, when it really comes down to it, it's 3
4, 5,
minarets,
6, 7.
and then 3 up and down.
There's one more. I think there's 4 in that area, I think.
Okay, so 7, and we'll call it 7 and 7. 14 things to decide from, right? Wayfarers, identical thinking, right? There's a ton of different action cards you can be using your dice on, as well as using the workers on, I think, roughly 16 different spots across the board, right?
Yeah.
So you do well when it's like, okay, the heaviness is not in the action choice, but in the way you have to operate the game, right? Because ultimately, it's one of these 4 actions, right? And with every turn, you're kind of blocking one of the actions. So next turn, I have 3 actions to choose from. Whereas this one, you have, we'll call it, I don't know exactly, but I'm going to say 15. Every turn, there are 15 different actions that you could possibly take. And ordering matters so much, right? With making sure, oh, I really want to do this one,
but if I do this
first, it makes that one so much better. Or, but to even do that one, I got to go here so I can afford it, right? And it becomes this kind of ordering game of, you got to plan several in advance to get the payoff of, this is what I really want to do to get me the points. You know?
And that makes sense, because for me, in this trilogy, it's Scholars, maybe Inventors because I've played it more, and then Wayfarers. But like honestly, Inventors and Wayfarers, like Scholars
because
is
they're
by
very
far and ahead.
Similar.
Yeah.
I think, it's just Inventors takes the thinking a whole lot more, whereas Wayfarers, you will have turns where it's like, I'm just going to go get money, right? Like, I'm going to go get provisions. And anytime you have like what we'll call the almost rest-like actions of, I'm just going to do something simple to get me some money.
I need this for next turn.
It makes it a little bit less.
But overall, it has grown. So I told you I don't know how much I'm going to play it. I will play it with you.
At least one more time.
At least one more time. And Shelby, if you're still here, we got to convince Joe.
Yeah, so. We do have to convince Joe. I think it might be the one he hates.
It's like the downtime.
He likes Scholars.
He liked Wayfarers.
And he liked Wayfarers. I'm not sure that he'll like this one because there is a lot of crunchy thinking, which leads to a lot of downtime.
All right. Up next, we have the Kinfire Delve series. Not the full series. This is just 2 of them. There is another one.
Oh, shoot.
Which I have not tried just yet. But this is Kinfire Delve. I've talked about it in the past. This is just kind of a card-driven dungeon crawler-esque game where you have a stack of cards, and then in the center of the game area there's a big boss in the middle and then 4 cards around it. And those cards are challenges. So there's things like traps, combats, 2 other things, puzzles, and then events that can occur. So you have action cards that you can play. And those action cards, you'll play them and it's got some type of hit points. So you're going to try to attempt one of those challenges. Once you play your card, you can also roll some dice to add some more hit points to it. If you're successful, you get some type of reward, mainly being going to dig more down into that card, which is your well, and you want to get to the bottom of those cards. If you fail it, you do get some type of punishment, generally losing a life, which you only have 10 of, which is not a ton. Discarding some cards from your hand, because you don't just redraw up your hand, you have to take some exhaustion to get your hand back. So it's got that hand management aspect to it. And then once you make it to the bottom of the deck, then you can actually fight the big bad guy in the middle, but he does have like 4 minions around him that you have to kind of defeat first so that you can actually attack him. I have never won this game. I've played both of these versions a handful of times now, and I've made it to the boss twice. But I've really been enjoying that, like, just the puzzle of like, okay, I'm gonna play this card now, and then that's going to allow me to get 3 cards deeper. But then if I play this card, it's going to allow me to just discard one of those challenges. So it's just got a really cool hand management mechanic going on. I got to play it with Kirsten, and so it's a solo or cooperative game. So I got to play it with Kirsten, and I actually liked that quite a bit more because both characters have different abilities that they can do, so having another character's ability available was actually really beneficial. So yeah, it was a fun one. It was really good. It was enjoyable. They both play the exact same. They just have slightly different themes. But yeah, I'm gonna keep on playing it. I do have the 3rd one as well. I think it's Callus's something. No, that's Callus's Lab. That's the green one. I don't remember. It's the blue one. But everything about it is just very nicely done, well produced, and a fun hour game. Okay.
Something I'll never play, but I'll take your word for it.
I don't know. I think you would like it. I think you might.
Maybe I will try it.
Yeah, okay. I think you would. I think you might enjoy it. Okay. Ooh, Lands of Galzer. This was an impromptu live stream that I got to do. That was whenever the kids were sick. Mm-hmm. So yeah, Lands of Galzer, I've talked about it quite a bit. I quite enjoy this game. It's a narrative-driven story. So really all that you're doing is you're moving up to 2 spaces and then reading a story. It was fun. I actually really enjoyed this one. I got really into it. So my character Bamir, we started off being kind of sneaky and thieverous, right? And so as we're making our way through the world, the first event that we get is, do you want to help these kids, right? And so they're like, yeah, let's help them in this boat race. So they're doing this boat race, and anyway,
Later,
the kids,
Ian.
have a good one, Ian. But so the kids are trying to do this boat race, and the one kid that we're trying to help isn't doing well. So like the decision comes up of like, do we cheat for them and make them win? And I'm like, yeah, of course. Like that's what my character would do. So we cheat for them, and then the kid is like, why did you do that? Like, what was the point of that? Why would you do this? You're not a good person, kind of stuff. And then, you know, I kind of got to role play into it a little bit more. I was like, oh no, we have to like change our way of life. Like this kid just like called us out. Is that important? So anyway, my character just kind of like went through this change of morale, and so like every action I was like, no, this is the kind of person that we are now. Let's do this. And I don't know, it was just a really fun story to go through. So,
Okay.
yeah, Ken did want to be devious. Ken kept telling me to take stuff, and I was like, no, we can't, Ken. That little kid called us out. So,
Where does Ian live that he has seen the Northern Lights?
Ian is in Colorado.
Oh, okay.
But some people were seeing him here in Wise County.
Yeah, okay.
So they say.
So they say, right? Lacey and I went outside, right? Because Wise County, you know, it's like, I'm dang near Wise County. It's
Yeah,
like
you are.
4 miles down. It was if you put your camera in night mode and you turn the exposure for like something like 3 seconds, it shows up on your camera.
Okay.
But like
It's because you're letting all the light in.
Yeah, you cannot visually see it with your eyes.
That makes sense.
Right? And so there's all these pictures, and you can tell because like everybody
They're
looks
shaky.
super grainy. No, everybody just looks super grainy in the picture, and
That
it's like
makes sense.
it's coming out on the camera that, oh yes, technically it is there, but you cannot see it. That's why I was like, I'm going inside.
Not doing that.
Yeah, I'm going back inside. This is,
Javier, so how would I compare those three? Lands of Galzer is more of a story and not a game. That's the best way to explain that. It is not a mechanics heavy game. The only mechanics is move 2 spaces, and then you are reading story the entire rest of the time. Above or below, near or far, now or never. Now or never, definitely the heaviest one. Near and far is more of a actual campaign. So, well, I guess so is now or never.
yeah, so real quick, Above and Below is, man, it is a standard Euro game. It wasn't the first to do a storybook, but it was the first to popularize storybooks. That is like its claim to fame. You had other ones, and I can't think of them off the top of my head, but there were a couple other ones that did it. Above and Below is the first that like became mainstream popular of taking a Euro game and having a storybook in it. Near and Far expanded on it. Not the gameplay does change a little bit. It's more about exploration, so you move along the map quite a bit more, and yes, it has a campaign mode that it included in it. Now or Never took basically a step back from the overall story elements of it. It's still present, but they went all in on the Euro game elements of it, and it is the heaviest Euro game of it, so it's really a straight Euro game with sections of story.
It's above or below plus, really is the best way to kind of talk about that one. For me personally, out of those ones, Above and Below is the best game. Devin will probably say Now or Never.
Yeah, Now or Never is my favorite of the games. It's what Paul doesn't like. It's an engine builder, and it like literally in the rule books about 3 different times tells you like how important it is to build your production early. Like that is the point of the game. Above and Below is the one that is very easy to just table. You can table it with, I've played that with non-gamers, and it's pretty, I mean, you're doing 4 actions, and we'll really call it 3 actions and 1 like oh, I have nothing else to do, so I'm going to go get some income.
Yeah, if you're looking for a narrative-driven game, I would say, or like a campaign style game where you have like a connecting story, Near and Far would probably be your best choice. If you're wanting just like a not super heavy game with a good amount of story, it's Above or Below. If you want a heavy game with good story, Now or Never. And then if you just want story with basically no game, Lands of Gowser.
Yeah, that's the best way to put them.
Yeah.
So, okay, Lands of Gowser. Next, Legacy
both did
of
it.
You. We did. We both did this one. So.
I'll go first. So I actually did the
one shot.
The one shot, yeah. So they actually just released on their social medias a one-shot game of Legacy of You. So this is a legacy. It's a campaign game. It's a resettable campaign game that just allows you to go through the story, through the narrative, kind of change up your next game or your pre.
Of course,
you know, it allows you to change your next game. Well, that's a lot to kind of commit.
Yeah, I'll jump in here. I had once said before, I had played 2 campaigns of Legacy of You, and I didn't know when I would get to play it again because, like, typically you have to play the entire campaign in minimum of 7 games, but really we'll call it 7 to 10 is going to be what your campaign is, each lasting roughly an hour. So you're committing to, we'll call it up 7 to 10 hours.
Yep. Yeah, and so for me, I was just like, no, I just want to play a one. So really what they do is they just tell you to remove a couple cards, and I don't remember them off the top of my head, but it is on their socials, on their Instagram and Facebook. But you remove a couple cards, you add some barbarians, some of the tougher barbarians in there, and then you just get to play the game just one off. And it was good. I really enjoyed that because, like I said, I did not have to commit to a 10-hour game. It was just a 1 hour whatever. It was more difficult for sure than the first game of Legacy of You because you do have those harder barbarians in there and stuff like that. So there was a point where I was like, I'm gonna get flooded out. Like I'm for sure gonna get flooded out.
Yeah.
So then I just spent, you know, the next round really building up my deck, just really getting tons of people. But then it came to that moment where, you know, I was, I think, like 2 rivers away or 2 spots away where it was like, from this point forward, I am exhausting all these people, right? Like I am getting everything from every single one of these people. And I think at the end of the game, I had like 2 cards left. But I was able to clear, I think, 5 barbarians on that last round and then get that final, you know, row in there. Because I had 6 barbarians. I was 1 away from getting the barbarians overrunning me.
Did it have you do the food shortage?
It did not, no.
So it's probably like in between base and like end of game, right?
Yeah.
Somewhere in
it's
there.
It's definitely
you know?
somewhere in there, yeah.
What I wish it did was give you a random, and I don't know how you would random, but give you a random power, right? One of the lost condition powers. If you're adding in all of the
tougher people.
And really the reason is a way to try them out, right? Like, it'd be very easy to be like, and add one of these, or, you know, and like bracket in these cards, or these cards. To me, I think that would be a cool way to try. So I played the whole campaign, and I actually added the tougher barbarian because the first campaign I did, I lost twice. Second campaign I lost once on the last one, and so I didn't ever really get to try out the power stuff, right? And on my second campaign I got, it was a terrible one, I remember. It was like trading wheat to clear a worker or something like that, worker off one of your huts. So anyway, I played this campaign, play it harder. I should have added something else because for me, just the tougher base barbarian did not make any difference in my game whatsoever because you put it halfway through the deck, right? There's no way you can have it.
You're not going to get it.
Well, there's no way you can have it at the beginning because it costs 4 of the same colored worker, right? So like it makes sense where you want to put it, but like I was always ready for it. Like by the time it came, it was like, okay, here's my 4 yellows or whatever the case is, and so that never caused me an issue. I did have a bad luck on on my 4th game, I had just introduced the barbarians that cost 4 each.
Oh, like the 4 random workers?
They cost 2 of 2 different colors.
Oh, okay.
First barbarian was one. Second barbarian was the second one, right? And at that point, it was like downhill.
Like
I knew from the beginning, there was no. So I lost that. I literally drew that exact same power. That was the one I didn't use. I didn't use it a single time. Still didn't use it a single time.
I think you can like discard it for something, can't you?
No, it's used. I can't remember if it's milk or wheat. You use milk or wheat to clear a
No,
worker.
but like I think you can discard the card for or some of them at least. Some of the good.
This wasn't
maybe
a
not
person.
That one. Okay.
Yeah, this was just like a.
No, that's because my first campaign I did get a card that allowed me some type of ability, but there was also like a discard of this card and you get this kind of stuff.
This was not.
Okay.
So that was like 4th game I lost, and then I won the next 2, and then I lost. So I actually don't think it was fortunate. I got the fortress last. And at first I thought, okay, that's great. It really wasn't great because at that point I had a deck full of hard barbarians. And I realized, this would have been much easier
with the easy ones.
When I had the easy barbarians.
You
right?
you get it second game.
So the second loss I had was, I don't know, I didn't end up keeping up. I made it about halfway through the game, right? But I did get a sweet power I had never had before. Well, I've only had a couple powers, but I think it's using a milk or a meat guy. I can't remember which one it was, to get 2 of the same warrior color.
Oh wow,
it was like
great
so good. I was like, that thing is fantastic, right? And so I got to play that with one game, which was cool. And I used it a ton. Like I was like, that is the best card in here by miles.
It's the best one that you've seen.
Yeah, well, that I've seen. You're right. So anyway, it was a neat campaign.
It was funny. I had texted you. I was like, dude, I just played this one shot of Legacy of You, and your response was, I just started the campaign. I wish I would have known about this 2 days ago.
I was like 3 games into the campaign at that point, and I'm like, okay. So, but that would be my only thing and maybe it'd be easy to add one of the powers, but it would just be, I would like to, that's why I wanted to play it again, was truthfully I didn't want to do a perfect campaign. I was adding the hard guy because I wanted powers, right? I wanted to, I don't know, maybe next time I just like, mulligan the first game, and call it one loss start, and
I forgot how to play.
Have a power, because like that's what I want to try out. There's 6 different loss condition cards, so there's 12 different power things in there, and I've only seen 2. I've seen more. I don't remember what I had on the first game. I won't lie. I don't know, but nothing remarkable. But
nothing that you remember.
The first game I got ones that were different types of villagers. Both times I lost where different villagers got added into the deck, and they're pretty powerful. But so that was Legacy of You. I played some Legendary. I can't even remember who I played because I played this, I think, on the very beginning of the month. Oh, no, I do remember. I played Magneto, played 2 games in a row, got crushed. I did not do well at all. What heroes did I play? My heroes, that was it. I played Magneto. I randomized the whole thing. I played no X-Men heroes, and like his stuff affects you needed X-Men, and I just like, so I got crushed, and I'm like, okay, I can overcome that. Like, this will be fine. I did not overcome it. I lost again. So I'm like, okay, I need to do that.
Just
again.
play with X-Men.
But I've been enjoying playing Legendary again. It's just a good deck building game. I don't know. There's a reason it's still around. I realized that. Like, there's a reason this game is still around and still making billions of expansions. Marvel has a lot to do with that. But like, it's a Dominion level deck builder. And you have a video of it. I should, Ken. You know what? I will plan to do this as a solo relatively soon. I've got to look at the schedule. I have the next couple months lined up, but I will. I'll do that, Ken, because I really enjoy this game, and there's so many heroes, and you can I just randomize it, but you can have fun like putting together some really cool heroes that will really like do well against each other. So I will do that, Ken. Also, I have not seen or heard of Alpha Clash, but I will look that up after this.
You know what I really like about Legend? I haven't played it, right? This game has been sitting on your shelf since I've known you, I feel like.
Yeah.
And
one of the first games I bought.
Yeah, I've never heard you talk about it, play it, and like I've seen it. It took this other haul when you got another copy of it. You're like, huh, I want to try it. And now like you're playing it pretty consistently.
Yeah,
it seems like
blast.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah.
It's like one that you forgot about.
Yeah, maybe
completely.
revitalize it. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it.
Let's go to Japan. We played this one as a live stream together. I got soloed a couple times. It's just a quick tableau builder, right? Yeah, just a quick tableau builder. It was good. I enjoy it. It's a really light game. I feel like there's some decision space on there. Hey Tay, thanks for coming. Appreciate you being here. Yeah, it's just a really light kind of game that I enjoyed. I feel like there's enough decision in it for what it is. It played, I think, in under an hour. So it does a good job at fitting. It has a role in the night, and that's where it plays, and that's where it fits. Like I think that's really it's a good game for what it is.
Yeah, I thought it was fine. I feel like my problem was I went in with too big of expectations. I thought this game was gonna be like, this is it.
Yeah.
Knock me out of the park.
Game 1 of 2024.
I didn't think that, but I just thought this was gonna like, this is it. This is gonna be a sweet game. And then I played it and I was like, oh, that was it. You know?
Yeah.
And there's this is one that I think might be like, we'll call it the verge of a luck factor for me, because there's going to be a lot of that, you know what I mean? Just especially
you
toward
just
the
got to
end,
make do with what you have.
especially toward the end, like I really need a flower and they're not coming up type of thing. And I understand like there's the drafting-ish mechanic, but like I don't know. It was fine. I would play it again. I guess the thing I didn't like was you only score one condition on your rows, but you have to read every card. And so like at some point you just got to say to yourself like, I'm gonna score this and like just chunk something underneath and who cares, like, but like you have to kind of analyze every single card, like, oh, can I score? Is this better than this one?
Is this one better than this one?
You know?
Because I can put it behind, I can put it in front, like I can manipulate it in a way.
Yeah, and that I'm not sure. I think that honestly kind of hurts the game more than anything. But other than that, I don't actually think it's bad. I know I said a couple negative things there, but
yeah, I think I think it's good for what it is. It's never going to be the highlight, or at least for us, for our gaming group, it's never going to be the highlight of the night. But it can be a good, hey, we just finished Inventors, let's play this kind of thing.
Yeah, let's just play this real quick,
and we'll be done in an hour.
Ken, first and foremost, what I have been having fun with is the base game. I do have several expansions. Haven't been playing with any of those yet. So, one, I'm just kind of pushing you to buy. But two, a month or two ago, they announced a second edition of the core box, and that core box has been out for over 10 years.
It's very old looking.
They're doing a second edition of it, so I would say wait 6 months. Get the newest edition of the core box. They're tweaking a lot of things that like they have done in the like expansions, fixed a couple rule things or whatnot, and so they're just kind of re-releasing the core box. It is exactly the same as is, with the exception of the current core box has Deadpool, and they no longer have the rights to that, so it won't have Deadpool. I can't remember who it has in its place, but other than that, I would say that's what I would do if I didn't already own Legendary. So yeah, for sure. So you'll get a lot of fun play out of just the core box. It comes with, God, what is it? It's like 15 different heroes. You only play with 3 each time, and it comes with, I think, 5 different masterminds. So And I believe the new core box is going to have a player mat instead of the board, and that alone is a sell.
I'm
for
assuming
sure.
it's going on Kickstarter.
I don't think so.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I don't think Upper Deck does Kickstarter. I think they just
Straight to
retail. Speaking of Marvel games, I played Marvel Champions. So getting Marvel United, getting Legendary also has revitalized my Marvel Champions. And so I played the entire 5-game expansion. It took more than 5 because I lost a couple times, but the 5-game, I think I lost once, but the 5-game expansion of the Rise of the Red Skull, and I decided I'm just going to go on through. So I started Guardians of the Galaxy.
Look at you. Actually going through the stories.
Ago, and and so I'm playing them two-handed because I want the kind of full feel of the game. But yeah, I had a blast. I played Colossus and Valkyrie. I had nobody that could thwart schemes. Both of them have one strength in thwarting, and they were not spec'd into it. And let's just say, like, it was a rushed beatdown. Colossus doesn't die, so there was that aspect of it. But it was pretty cool because there's a lot of things in this so Colossus' big gimmick is he has tough status, which makes him not take damage. But they had I think 2 different characters that either ignored tough or completely cleared them. And so it was fun. It was fun to play through for sure.
Did you just randomize your 2 heroes?
The 2 heroes I did. Yeah. I just picked, I told Google over there to pick a number between 1 and 52, and that's what I went with. And so, and now I've gotten, I think, 3 more mixed in, so it's now going to be 1 in 55. But
was there new champions released?
I hadn't sleeved my Jubilee, Iceman, and who else? I can't remember who the third one was. Anyway, so so I had a blast, and I am at a crossroads in my life because of this game. So, if you guys know me and Paul, we debate about exactly one fact in life. That's not true, lots, but there's one fact. There's
what
one
is this
fact,
big one?
and it is how we record stuff in BG Stats. And I ignore all my solos. I do that because I like to have a win rate that is reflected upon having multiplayer. And my stance does not change on that aspect. If I could somehow still take that part out, I would. But I'm like, I want to know my stats for this game, just how many times I've played certain people, right? And the combinations that I've played this character for this villain, or how many times I've played this villain. And I realize when you ignore stats, it ignores everything but the play. It counts the play, and that is all it counts, right? And so I'm like, do
you start adding them in?
Yeah, do I start? Right, because it will, right? So,
that's 5 games of that, right? So
so I played 6 games, lost once, right? So, I don't know the exact math, but that's 83% increased win rate. And so my thing is, if I do it for this, I do it for all my solos, right? Because at that point, the win rate doesn't matter, and I just go ahead and push it all, and then I have a 98% win rate, right? And so I'm at this, I don't want to, because I personally like the win rate, right? I play games to win, and right now I'm sitting at, I think, 61%, and I like that, right?
Oh man, let's check mine. 20.
I can tell you, for me, it's I think
33, isn't it?
14.
I love how you knew that just right off the bat.
I look at this stuff. That's what my favorite says. Oh, I'm at a 60. I must have lost something. You're at 15.
Look at that. I won something.
Yeah, Paul is at over 401 plays.
I'm at 15%?
Yeah, 401 plays. Paul wins 15%.
Nice.
How many games is that?
401.
No, how many? I could probably do the math really quick. That's 60 games. You won 60
Look
games.
at that. That's just against you, though,
What
right?
am I? Out of 681, I've won 60. So that's, we'll call it 340 plus 10 is 400.
Nice.
400 and something games.
Where is that? That's on overview?
No, you go to the player, the individual player.
All right, so for me, look at this. And this is solos also. 41%. Look at that.
Yeah.
I lose more than half of the games that I play. It's okay.
So that's where I'm like, I want to, because I want to see, like, especially, right, so I'm playing another campaign, and right, so when you think about it, when this is all said and done, I'll have, I don't know, that's my math's not good right now, but I'll have roughly 30 plays, 30 to 40 plays, and I would like to know, like, the individual stats of, like, I guess I would like to see it, like, how many times has Colossus won versus things, or how many times has Red Skull beat things? But like, I will skew everything, and I've done so much Google research. If I could like somehow just ignore, and
I mean, the only option is make another BG Stats account.
Oh, that might be it.
Yeah,
that might be it. Maybe I'll try that.
You just start another BGG account.
I wonder how easy it is to log in and out. I might try that, because I would like to know those, like.
You just do Marvel Champions?
Yeah, I would just like to know the stats. And honestly, I could argue the same thing with the Legendary, because there's how many heroes, but I don't really actually care about that one as much, like stat-wise. But this one I do, because this game is great. So anyway, that totally got derailed. But it's like, my thing is, I don't want it to be a 90% win rate, and then like I never actually know like
what you really do win or not.
Yeah. So anyway, that's
You do have a question there from Javier.
I have never played Sentinels of the Multiverse, but I have heard a couple of YouTubers said they prefer that one over Marvel Champions. Would you agree? Javier, I have not played Sentinels of the Multiverse. I played it around the time I played Marvel Legendary, and actually I thought it was more compared to Legendary because it's a deck builder, versus Marvel Champions is actually you bring a pre-constructed deck, right, to a scenario, and I'm like 99% positive that Sentinels of the Multiverse is a deck builder. I don't remember it. I played it 10 years ago and couldn't actually give you enough of a remembrance of it, because there was a time when it was Sentinels of the Multiverse, DC deck building game, and Marvel Legendary, and all three were like booming in the deck building space. I just don't really remember enough to say, so sorry.
Yeah, maybe you got to get it in Hall and then play it again, play all four of those.
Yeah.
There you go.
Marvel United, another one that I have been playing. I actually played a game this morning. This one is fast-paced and simple. Takes, it's talked about, I can send Lacey and the kids off, and then I can literally play this in set up, play, tear down, 20 minutes.
That's real good.
Like, it is back on the shelf in 20 minutes time. That's what I'm actually enjoying the most, is like, set out 6 boards real quick, throw whatever, again, ask Google to give me some random numbers, pick the heroes, and it's neat. It's much neater than I thought it was. I still do not see how people are spending thousands of dollars on
all of the
400 heroes and villains and locations. It's a step up from a kid's game, ultimately.
That's what people like.
Yeah, but man, I have been enjoying playing. So today,
Do you think this would be one that you'll teach Luna when,
100%?
Yeah,
100%.
So I follow some people on Instagram that have talked about this game specifically, about it being a very great family game.
So the game is, you're playing one of the heroes, so like I've been playing it 3-handed because the solo's trash, right? And it's no different. The difference is like solo, you have all the cards mixed together in your hand,
Okay.
you know? And instead it's like, oh, I play once for Iron Man, once for Black Widow, once for Hulk. That's the only difference. The difference is you have one health pool solo, and so like a couple bad events and you die.
And you're dead.
Whereas if your hero dies, the other people revive you, right? It's a team game. So anyway, long story short, so you play one hand, the villain goes first, villain plays a card, and I will say, thematically, maybe it's because I love Marvel, it's neat that they call it a timeline. You're building a story, right? So you're playing it to the timeline.
That's awesome.
And then by the end of it, right, so it starts in the corner, it gets to probably about here of like cards next to each other, you know, and so you can see, oh, Red Skull did this, and then
That's awesome.
Iron Man did this. So anyway, so you play, Iron Man plays a card, and they have 3 different symbols. It either has a move symbol, a fight symbol, or a heroic action symbol, and then there's a wild. But anyway, it's those 3 symbols, and so they do exactly that. They move, they fight, or they do like the special thing, rescuing somebody or defeating a scheme or whatnot. When you play a card, you get, in most cards have 2 symbols, some have like most have 2 symbols. You actually get the 2 symbols of the previously played card, so you have 4 symbols to work with. So like if you're playing Iron Man, right, first doesn't, but so Iron Man played his card, then Black Widow played hers, she's got 4 actions. Then Hulk plays his, and he's got Black Widow's 2 plus his 2, and then Iron Man plays, and it's these 2, and you just, so it's simple, like a kid can play it, and like you play and you just do one of those 3 symbols. You're trying to defeat the main, like I played Ultron today. You're trying to defeat Ultron, but before you can, you have to do 2 of 3 conditions, which is either rescue 9 bystanders, defeat 9 thugs, or have done 4 of the schemes. And so once you've done 2 of them, you can start hitting the bad guy. He also like ramps up, so instead of going once every 3 people, he goes once every 2 people, and it's just a quick escalation to the end type of thing. But yeah, I can see this, kids playing this.
This is one that I've had my eye on for kids, because I know you're in the same boat that I am, but like my daughter loves Spidey and Amazing Friends. Like that's what she's for Halloween. She's gonna be Gwen Stacy, Ghost Spider, and like I tried watching X-Men with her, and then I realized that's not a good idea. But now she's like, oh, I want to watch that. So like I'm getting her into this Marvel, and she likes that. She's into that. And like, this is just one. And Pablo there, he says, I hope that they make them chibi sized. I know exactly what you mean by that. I hate the way it looks, but my daughter loves that also. So like, it's just appealing to that. And I think it would be a fun game to, like, this is I don't want to say it's an adult game, but it's a game that you would enjoy playing with them, kind of thing, right?
Yeah, I think what would make me buy the expansions is I teach Luke and Luna, and they are
head over heels.
I'm going to say 8 to 6 years old, right? I would buy their favorite character, right? And so that's a nice thing, right? I'm sure, I haven't looked, but I'm sure the box is $20, right? So like, I let them each pick, Luke really wants the whatever Black Panther box, and so I get that, and that would be like, then they can play the person they want. I'm never buying the,
the
4-foot Galactus statue or whatnot. But I would buy a couple like that. I agree with the style, but I think it's
you just think the gameplay is 20
from
minutes.
A kid's game, and so it makes sense, right? This is like dang near the same art as Spidey and his Amazing Friends. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's just a tweak different than that. So.
The Funkoverse game, that's exactly same art.
Yeah. So that was Marvel United. Talked about it way too long. Mission Amazonia. So talking about all these deck builders, let's go to like real simple exploration deck builder. Paul and I got to try this. It's prototype, going to go on Kickstarter relatively soon.
2 weeks. The 22nd it should be.
It was neat. I'm not going to lie and say this was just the best game I have ever played. It was not that, but it was a simple it was a simple deck builder, and the neat part of it is it's about a subject, and it's about saving the rainforest and the animals and the animals and whatnot, and it has a whole bunch of text that if you're into that,
if you care about it,
that part's cool. It has events that like thematically make sense, but ultimately when it's said and done, we're talking about the nuts and bolts of it. It's a basic deck builder, and I thought it worked just fine. Yeah. So I got to play. I didn't get to play the full campaign, but I got to play 2 games of it, and I don't know. If I had the book long enough, I would have went ahead and played the whole campaign. So I think that says a decent amount in itself.
Yeah, I agree. Everything about it looks nice. It looks good from what we had, and again, it was just a prototype version. Unfortunately, I did not get a chance to play it, but Devin is the deck builder person, and he said it's good. So
yeah, I thought
gotta go with that.
Yeah, I thought it was cool enough. Newton with the Great Discoveries. So this is a game
If Tay is still here, Tay enjoys Newton quite a bit.
It's so hot right now. I love that.
Pencil.
I love that. You're so right, Pablo. I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, you slap on a nature theme and people are buying, that's all you gotta do. Put a dog or, some sort of exotic animal on there. And yeah. So, I'm sorry, what did you say? Tay loves Newton?
I said, yeah, Tay really enjoys Newton.
Yeah. Think Newton. So I gotta play this solo. I bought this, I found it at a discount. I don't know, it was like $20 brand new. Bought it, played it, solo was fine. Want to play it multiplayer, but I told Paul, I'm not going to say that Shim Phillips ripped from this game by any means, but man, if I don't, he had to have gotten some inspiration, right? Let's call it that, right? About Newton. He had to get some inspiration, or if not, he should play this game and be like, hey,
this is exactly what I
made a very similar game. But Ezra and Nehemiah is like the beefed up version of this. It's building a tableau of symbols and strengths, and I made the rookie mistake of trying to do too much, which I typically never do.
Yeah, that's not a you move.
I typically I did a little bit of everything, and it did not pay off for me. But it's cool. Has tracks upon tracks to go up, and you're building this cool tableau, tucking cards to make your stuff stronger, buying upgrades to make your stuff stronger. I mean, it definitely was like Ezra and Nehemiah, just beige.
Yeah, beige represent. Tay, I know you had just mentioned about you getting more expansions of this game. I think from the Barrage Kickstarter or something.
So right? I did the same thing. I spent way too much money on the Barrage. So the pledge manager opened, and they were giving a 20% discount on it. So I bought.
Are they shipping that before Barrage? Are you getting that stuff?
No.
It comes with Barrage. Okay.
I got this, and what else did I get? What else?
Did you get Darwin's Journey?
No, I wasn't going to buy a full game. I'll instead spend $80 on useless promos, Paul. How dare you
think am I thinking?
Yeah. I bought more stuff for Lorenzo. Yeah, so I bought stuff for Newton and stuff for Lorenzo.
Okay.
Lorenzo adds just a couple more cards and that kind of stuff. One of my funnest memories playing games, my wife's focusing on the worst track, the money one. That's awesome. That track is Garbo too, for sure. So that's awesome. But yeah, they knew what they were doing with that Barrage Kickstarter.
Yeah, for sure.
And also, Tay, I don't know how much you know this, but Cranio is notoriously bad at delivering on their Kickstarters.
Are they?
Yeah, notoriously. They go 6 months, 12 months late, don't contact well. I still fed them way too much money. I was like...
You're like, I love Barrage, I love Lorenzo, give me Newton.
Yeah. I mean, I went all in on Barrage. I got everything, right? I'm literally getting the whole shebang. And crazy is that they're doing this big... It was to promote the legendary box that fits all the expansions. they straight up said they're not done making expansions. Now, they did say there will be room for what they have planned.
Yeah.
But they said, oh, we saw more expansions.
We have more expansions in the road.
That almost made me be like, well, maybe I just go all in the next time.
Yeah.
But I was like, I like the game too much.
I'm already doing it.
Yeah, so I also bought too much stuff for Newton as well. That I don't need. It's like another. I played the game once, right? Like about another map, and, you know.
I definitely want to try it.
Yeah.
If it's like Ezra and Nehemiah, I definitely want to try it.
Yeah, I'm definitely not as thinky. Much
dumbed down.
Lower down. Don't have that high of expectations, but it's that same thing.
Praga, Kaput Aregni.
So this goes over to you.
Yeah,
Paul played a Euro.
Woohoo! I played a Euro. Not that I don't like Euros, but that's just generally not my solo.
Yeah, normally it's like Euro Devon, Dice roller story, Paul.
Very true. Yeah, I got to play Praga. So this is, I think I mentioned it before. We've seen this game so many times mentioned, just like on the games you might like. You might enjoy this, right? And we've always just been like, oh, let's play that. Oh, let's play that. So finally, we did end up getting this game in our collection, and I got to try it out, the solo version. So the main gimmick of this game is the action selection wheel, right? So you have this wheel and there's 6 actions. So on this wheel, there's a tile and it has 2 actions on there.
Each player has a wheel, or
no? It's on the main player board, right? So there's the action wheel right up there. There's 3 different sections of this wheel. There's a red section, a green section, and a blue section. So as you turn this wheel, you can grab any of the action tiles and perform one of the actions on there. So it's things like upgrading your player board, building out in the city, building walls around your player board, moving along the road, just different stuff like that. If you get if you grab a tile from the red section, you're gonna have to pay some coins. If you get it from the green section, that's just a normal, you just grab it. If you get it from the blue section, you get extra bonus victory points, right? So you generally don't want to let it go to the blue for your opponents, because then they get victory points. Also on this wheel, there's some type of bonus on there, so like extra coins, extra ore, whatever it may be. So selecting your action is a big decision because do you want to pay 1 coin to get this and get this special that you really want, or do you want to just do, one of the basic greens, whatever. So then you perform your action, and it's really, really basic, right? It's you have 2 resources, you have gold and ore, and you're just spending them to build buildings, build wall, whatever it may be. And then you place the action tile back in the wheel. I'm sorry, you actually spin it first, and then you place it back in the wheel. So the tiles are constantly moving. The tiles are going back into a new space that has a new bonus whenever you do it. There's tons of stuff going on in the game. You can score points by your buildings, by your walls. There's a cathedral and another wall up there that you're trying to move up, kind of these tracks. So it's a game that you can't focus on everything. It's literally do 2 or 3 of the things and really maximize them out. The road, it can get you like end game scoring opportunities and stuff like that. The first time I played it, I made that mistake of just trying to do everything, and I got a quarter of the way through everything and did terrible. And then afterwards, I started specializing and stuff and did much better. The solo is not, it's a beat your own score. It's just kind of your typical older Euro without solos, right? Just a beat your own score kind of thing. Which is actually fine because it's a game. I kind of said it's a little bit like a Feast for Odin. There's so many different things that you can do. There's not 40 actions like in Feast for Odin, but there's a lot of different strategies that you can go through. So playing it just lets you explore those different things. Literally the solo, all it does is it takes the furthest one up and puts it down, and then you turn it. That's it.
Yeah.
You have 16 turns in the game, and you're just trying to be as efficient as possible. So I think it's a really good one. Not 100% sure about the replayability after a lot of playthroughs of it. Like there are different sides to the action tiles and all that kind of stuff, but I feel like you could get in a rut of just like, this is my go-to strategy, this is what I can do, this is kind of the best thing. I don't know if you can math it out, but it kind of seems like you might be able to, kind of thing. So, but I've been enjoying my time playing it. I do think I did get to play it on BGA multiplayer with 3 players, and I did think that was much better because you have that interaction of the buildings and the tiles clearing and all that kind of stuff. So I think it's a good one. It's definitely going to be one that I'm going to continue to play, at least in the near future, and then we'll kind of see how the long term goes for it.
Yeah, I mean, I always find you play games way less than you ever think you're going to, yes. Right? So, I mean, what is good? You play it once a year. Yes. I think you're doing good.
And so actually, even going into that, it's really funny because like, now that I've got a game table and you've got a game table, like it's a lot easier to leave games set up. So like I will play a game 2 or 3 nights in a row, when before that was never an option for me, or not even just an option, but I would have to clean everything up, put it away. I generally would not grab the same game for like the next night, right? Like now I can just leave it out and play the same game the next day. So
that's interesting. I don't. I even with the table,
I definitely do. I leave the games out 2 or 3 nights now, and
almost always would rather just play something different, right? Like,
yeah.
And I think that's my having so many games, right? Like, all right, I played that. Like, I would much rather.
And so, I mean, that goes back into the conversations that you and I have always had, right? Like, I feel like I need more than just one play to grasp the game, and that's kind of where it is. But in general, I don't play games back to back to back, and so that probably won't be a problem.
Quacks.
Ooh, Quacks & Co. This is a kids game, family game. Same family as Quacks of Quedlinburg.
Obviously.
Yeah, obviously. And
I missed the kitchen counter.
Ken's old school.
Ken, appreciate you being here that whole time, but man, if you only knew we were on rickety stools. I don't miss that one bit.
Davin said when 6 Siege arrived, it was on the table for 5 weeks. Definitely got your money's worth.
Yeah, as long as you were playing it and didn't just.
That's true.
I have no time to game. It's sitting over there. I'll play it eventually.
But this is just a bag builder, and it's really just a race. So, just like in Quacks, right? You dig in your bag, you pull out a chit, and it has some type of ability. If you pull out 3. What is it
called? Cherry bombs.
It's not called cherry bombs. It's like sleeping weed. It's something like that. But if you get 3 of them, then you can actually go to the market, upgrade your bags, and go from there. But really, it's literally just a little race. But it was a lot of fun, right? So Lola, she's 4. I got to explain to her, like, hey, like, let's try to upgrade your bag a little bit. And it was funny, the first time we played it, she was like, I'm not spending my gems. These are shiny red gems. I'm not spending them.
Yeah.
It's like, these are mine. I'm like, but you need to buy this thing to make you move. I'm about to move 8. You need to be able to move more than 1. So just like that little kind of interaction was really funny. But it's definitely one that, as we've played it a little bit more, she's starting to understand, like, oh, the bigger numbers are better and stuff like that. So it's definitely not one that she completely understands now, which is great because grow into it. And it's one that I actually enjoyed playing too. So the kids games that are fun are actually great. Like I have no problem playing this. I would rather play this than Who's That Princess 20 more times, right?
That's true.
Guess Who Princess is.
That is true.
So.
Pablo, question for you. I think that's awesome, like, to have that, like, oh, this is what we're going to do. I'm curious how often you game night. Like, is it a once a month, once a week? Like, because depending on that, like, we end up, before we were, like, doing this regularly, we weren't getting together enough to, like, have that option. It was always just hey,
here's the new one.
Here's the new games, and we're playing 3 new games. So,
but even now, like as we're doing this, like we don't.
Well, now we get so many games that like we don't have the time. But like we're still playing more and just we're getting more games.
Yeah, very true.
Quest for El Dorado.
This is a monthly staple for you.
Yeah, Luna. If I say once a week, Friday, Saturday, 7 p.m. Oh,
yeah,
that's a nice long game.
That's
So that makes sense that you guys can still clear through your backlog when you're playing 4 times a month. So that's cool. Anyway, when I say, hey, we're having family game night, she literally runs over here and points to El Dorado. And I even have moved this box from where it initially was. She still knows.
Higher.
She knows what it is.
That's awesome.
Which is fine. Me and Lacey both love this game. I dominated Lacey, and I don't even know how. I went like big deck strategy and just bought
big deck strategy. Really?
Deck strategy and bought tons of stuff.
No way.
I had so much money that I was like buying all the
big things.
cards, but even I don't know. It was just
that is completely different than normal.
Yeah,
you beat me with what was it? 6 cards?
Yeah,
5
that
cards?
was awesome. And that's my like go-to deck builder, right? But like we've been playing this a ton, that I've just been trying different things, and Lacey has too. And honestly, we've talked about it. We're like, we both enjoy the game. We really need to get like
expansions.
Yeah, they have expansions and other cards and that kind of stuff. It's like be able to change it up, because we are ultimately playing with the same whatever, I'm gonna say 20 cards, you know. But yeah, it has become a monthly staple because Luna is enjoying it. She sits right down here in the middle, and she has her little person, and honestly what she likes the most is the little cavern tile hexes. So we give her a stack of hers, and
that's awesome.
That's it. So she's doing good.
Pablo's played 220 games out of 300 in the collection, 7 years.
Okay, that's, you know what?
Solid.
I don't think 80 games. I bet I have.
I can tell you at my house right now, there's 7 games sitting on my floor.
I would guess I have roughly the range of 100 to 120 not played. Would be a solid guess. So
yeah.
I don't think 80 is bad at all. Shipwrights is Paul.
Me, you count Button Shy, so that's 30. Yeah, those are. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Shipwrights. I got to play this one. I think I had just played Ezra and Nehemiah, and I was like, "Oh, let's get a little Garfield kick going." Oh no! I played this one with Kirsten. I actually got to talk her into playing a game. A lot of times she's just super tired from work, doesn't want to play anything. So sometimes I'm like, let's play a game.
I get, if we weren't doing family game nights, Lacey never plays games.
Yeah.
The last time Lacey played a game was New Year's. So.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah. So I pulled out. I think I pulled out like Creature Caravan, Shipwrights, and something else. And she was like, I know this art. You like this person. Let's play this one. I was like, cool. Let's do it. So we got to play Shipwrights. I taught her the game, and she destroyed me. Absolutely destroyed me. And I was not able to get a good any good synergies going. None of the cards like really worked out, and she was able to build up her tableau with like getting tons of workers, and then the actions underneath it was like spending workers for resources. So she had like one where it was like place a worker here, you get 2 or 3. And then you spend 1 and you get a bunch of cards, right? And then another one was like spend a worker, get these resources, spend another worker, get, 3 or 4 wool, whatever, right? So she was able to like get really good at that. My last round, I finally was like able to produce a decent amount of stuff, and I think I built 2 pretty good ships on the last round. And I thought I had done much better than what I did, but when it got to final scoring, it was just like, that was not nearly enough. Like your buildings were just top notch. Like they did you real well. So I know you've mentioned it before. This one has a lot of that luck of the draw, and yeah, definitely no luck on my part on this game. But it is what it is, and that was kind of it. I enjoyed playing the game with her, and this is not one that you're spending an hour and a half playing, right? This was, I think, under an hour that we got to play it, so it was quick, but that was Shipwrights.
Teotihuacan. Did we end up playing this? You set it up. I don't think we ended up
didn't play it.
Yeah,
No.
okay. So I played this solo. So I got the sweet deluxe master set that's right behind Paul's head there. The massive deluxe master set.
That thing is huge.
Yeah. How did you like setting it up?
I did not like setting it up.
Yeah.
But, so Devin was supposed to come over Friday night, the night that I live streamed Lands of Gowser. So the night before, I was like, ooh, I'm going to set up Teotihuacan. First of all, because this is a massive game. It's going to take up literally every inch of my 3.5 by 3.5 table. But it was just, there's so much stuff in there.
There is.
There's so much stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like 11 modules. And I didn't play any of them. I played the base game, and I had a blast. The bot was easy to run because I used an app, and I will never not do that. The app also, upon hindsight, gives you setup scenario, random setups. So I don't have to randomize stuff myself. But the app made it very easy to run. It is your typical David Turkey's app or bot that
If this, then
symbol
that. If
based,
this, then that.
if and that. Yeah, if this, then that. Millions of symbols, and their stuff always works different than yours, right? It's kind of the opposite philosophy of like the Garfield. Theirs typically always works the same.
Ignoring everything.
This one, it doesn't. It just works differently.
Does its own thing.
Yeah, and I love them. It's just they're complicated. You need to know how to play the game, and you need to know how to run the bot. And so it made it very simple. Broke it all out. Do this, check this. Okay, that. And but yeah, I liked it. I wish we had gotten a chance.
I'm not gonna lie,
play.
I was pretty sad that I didn't get to play it.
Yeah, I wish we had gotten a chance because I had only played this game one time, and that was enough for me to be like, I love that game. And it was still very, very good. I hope that at least one of my kids is somewhat like me, and I get to play this game 30 times in my life, right? That would be like the ultimate goal, because I think there's a lot to explore, and there's a lot of modules now that I have, and so I would like to just explore all of it.
Yeah, I was pretty disappointed putting it away because, in all honesty, I was like, oh, I'm just gonna solo it, right? Like I'm just gonna try to figure it out, but I needed the table, and I put it all away, and I was like, I'm not resetting that up just to put it back away to give it to you today, kind of thing, right? So
did you get down to the bottom tray that was a cluster of stuff?
Probably. I mean, I took everything out of the box.
So people are like, there are people on the internet. That's the way I look at it. And if you guys are watching and you're one of them, like, I don't get it. But people are like so up in arms that the bottom tray is like, really, you just
with the bags and stuff.
Yeah, you just stack components in it, type of thing. People are like, oh, this should be organized, and like, because the rest of the thing does tell, and it does have a thing that tells you how to lay it in there, but the stuff's just like sitting there. I'm like, it sits there, the lid closes without lid lift, like,
it's fine.
Yeah, chill out, people. Like, it's fine. Like, I didn't have to do no secret magic to get all of my stuff to fit. Like,
Suck the air out.
I followed the instructions, laid it here. Yeah, you had to like stand something up until you shut. But I was like, who cares? Like, you paid a lot of money for this. I understand, but the price would have gone up even more if they went and had folded space, make some custom insert or whatnot. And so, like, I'm like, it's fine. Like, I think it's functional for what it is, and the parts that need to be out on the table, they have a really sweet organizers for, and all the components are really quality. They're like nitpicking it to death on this. Like,
I will say it did feel over deluxeified, right? Like, some of those wood pieces, they're huge. Like the wood and the gold, like
deluxe master set.
I know
you knew
what
you were paying.
I know,
and like, I don't remember how much you paid. We'll call it $200. I probably paid more, $250. I don't remember. But like, when you're paying that much, like, is that not what you like?
No, that is what you
expect
want. That is
and
what
want.
you want.
And like, I don't know. I thought it was sweet. Like, I'm like, these are awesome components. The bags for it on the BGG store are relatively cheap. Interesting. But yeah, I don't know.
Yes, I mean,
I think the deluxe is like perfect.
That's exactly what you're right. That's exactly what you're paying for. That's
like otherwise you go buy the base game for a fraction of the cost, and it's just what it is. But yeah, I don't know. So I'm excited I have it.
Yeah, I will play that with you. Ooh, look at that.
The Magnificent. Played this right toward the end of the month. This is like final couple days. Played this solo. Never play solo again. Just play
disappointing.
it. You might like the solo. I'm very picky on my solos, right? Like I want my win rate. Like I want players to play against. This was your typical just go explore the game. That was it. So there was like no real challenge, but then they have like arbitrary scores, and I didn't actually make it, so this would technically be a loss. I did score. I outscored. So I went back and looked. I scored 179.
For the solo or when we played it? Okay.
Okay. And it says 200's a win, and I'm like, oh, okay. And it's like 240. You're doing good, something like that, right? I'm like, dang, I didn't make it, And then I look, and on our playthrough, I think it was 140, and you got 90.
Okay. Like, how are you supposed to get?
And so anyway, I looked, and it's just not really, we'll call it thought out. And that's what people said. People are like playing with a slight modification because you're not really playing a bot or anything, but like, if you remember, there was like the tinting thing.
Yep.
None of that is getting cleared out except for you. And it getting cleared out is how you get stuff. So people are like, you need to clear stuff out to like...
But it really doesn't like give you a huge benefit to just focus on that either, right? Like you can't just clear it all out on your own, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, it's your way of getting posters without having to pay for them. Anyway, point is, I thought, oh man, I need to just get lazy because it's dummy simple, right? It's 3 actions.
I definitely want to play it again. I remember enjoying it.
I'm like, I don't know why this game doesn't get talked about more when it comes to like intro games, because this is like the perfect intro game. I don't know. I still had fun playing it. It was just like,
I mean, you've said it multiple times. Not every game needs a solo mode.
I think that's in this one definitely falls in that. But so played the Magnificent.
Timeless Journeys, the Italian Grand Tour. So this is another prototype we got to try. Actually, it's coming to Kickstarter here in a couple weeks as well. I got to play it. There is a solo, but there is no solo currently. So when I first played it, I got to, I just did a double-handed kind of game of it. Really just kind of exploring it. So in this game, you are just exploring, not just exploring Italy. There's a bunch of different actions. You can explore, which is getting like different tiles and getting some actions. You can make friends, which is collecting resources. Basically, you're just collecting resources, trying to journal them, and make your way down Italy and try to hit certain cities and stuff like that. The main gimmick of the game is you have 8 cards in your hand, and they're different colors. So let's say you play a green card, and then your next card is another green card. You can do the actions that are green. If you then play a blue one and then another green one, you can do all 3 green ones. At the end of every round, depending on how many colors you play, you get to upgrade your deck for free, and then so your cards just kind of get better.
The actions compound based off the color.
Yes.
But you get rewarded based on the variety.
Yes.
So it's kind of an interesting balance.
But yeah, so you know me, generally just playing games. I thought it was good. I thought it was enjoyable. I don't know of any other games that I can think of that have like a action kind of compound like that. Not off the top of my head.
I've definitely played before, but I cannot think off the top of my head.
Yeah, it's not something that's done very frequently, and I like that. I thought that was really good. And again, I thought it was fine playing it by myself the couple times that I played it, but then I played with you and absolutely got destroyed. And felt bad actually.
All right, so I didn't think this was a good game. I actually, when we got done playing it, I thought, okay, that was an all right game. And then I've been thinking about this game like since, and I'm like, oh, I thought about it since like the few days after, and I was like, that was really just not a good game. That was my ultimate thought to it. I don't know. I can't quite put my finger on it, but like, I think it wanted to do cool stuff, but it was ultimately just relatively boring in that, like, it ultimately came down to you getting these meaningless colored resources, and then you go into journal spaces, and I don't know. It's like the writing people and the making friends, it seemed like it was like, it's gonna do cool stuff, but then that cool stuff was ultimately just like, oh, it's just another way to get green things. And then I'm just gonna end up sticking them in my journal thing, or I'm gonna turn them into the, I don't know. It's something, it just, I'm like, I don't know that it was good. I don't know that I would ever bust this out to like show somebody, because I think there's just a million other better games.
Yeah, it's I don't think it was a bad game. I don't think it was anything amazing, but I don't think it was bad. I thought it was interesting. I definitely would like to see what it is with more people. Not that there's tons of player interaction in the game in general, but you know, I like the, I'm gonna say the variability in the game, right? Like, you do have the special people throughout there that move throughout the map that give you either end of round bonuses or instant bonuses. And we got to play with 3 of them. I think there's 6 or 12 in the bag, right? So I don't remember exactly how many. The cities don't change. The explore icons do change a little bit. So you can probably do the same strategy almost every game, but it is going to slightly change based on what's out there and who's out there. I think if you play the game with somebody that plays games like you do, right? Like somebody that is on your same kind of level, it would be a lot more enjoyable kind of game. But I think like the strategy that you ended up doing, like that is a 100% winning strategy all the time. I don't think you could do much better.
I do have a problem with that part too.
Right?
Like I dang near maxed out the points.
Yeah.
And I was able to, right? And it's like, well, why would I not just always do that? Because that is the max points I can get, so. Prime, do you give the game the benefit of the doubt that it would get more development or review as is right now? I don't know. Right, so stuff can change. They did not ask us kind of any feedback on gameplay.
Yeah.
So I don't know that they are going to tweak gameplay. But yeah, that's just my gut feeling was, I don't know. It's just, there's something about it that I just ultimately was like, I don't know that was all that great. Like, it wasn't, I judge a lot of times on the game of like, can I point the thing that was fun for me, right? Like, I enjoy that, or enjoyment, right? Fun, enjoyment. And I didn't have that. There was nothing in that game that was like, I'm doing something I enjoy. It was, I'm just moving to a different city and getting some sort of resource that I'm just gonna turn on in, you know.
So yeah, I mean, I'll say like, I don't think this is a bad game. Like I don't think it is. This is a game that I would for sure play again with my wife, right? Like, I think it's a medium. Easy medium, like right, like maybe like a low 2s kind of game, somewhere in there, which isn't bad, right? It played, I think about 90 minutes is kind of what it played, so I think it's a decent time. There are other games that I would play over this one, but if this one were out, ready to go, you know, I would for sure play it. That's kind of how I feel about it. It's a decent game for what it is, right? I don't know. I think it was there's so many games out there that it's hard to really impress you, kind of thing, right? Like there's just so much out there.
It's not. I just
And
don't
not
think
just
I had
you,
anything
right?
fun, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I wasn't. Like I can still play Quest for El Dorado, and I've played 30 times, right?
Yes.
And I can still have fun, you know. I just didn't have any moments that were like, this is the fun part of the game.
Yeah. No,
So,
I mean,
for me, at
yeah,
least,
no,
right?
I get that, and I'm just saying, there's just so many games out there that like, it's hard to impress everybody, right?
Yeah.
And so this game might be a hit for some people, but for some people, it's just kind of, whatever. And I don't think it's a hit for me, but I would definitely play it. Right? Somebody else wanted to play it, and be like, yeah, for sure. I had a decent time playing that, and it's kind of what it is. Yeah, Tay, we didn't really. I mean, I think you just, yeah.
They may change
is what it is.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
Viscounts.
This was not me.
I did this.
This must have been your very first solo for the month.
I did this on a live, didn't I?
Yes.
I don't remember it. I do remember it. This game kind of upset me because we talked about it afterwards.
I remember.
And it made me like solidify that building can never win multiplayer. I've built plenty solo, and you always beat the solo doing whatever. But I built, and I got like dang near the max points on building, and like it made us do the math and being like, you will always get beat by either the manuscripts or the castle. And that kind of put it down a peg for me because the building is the developing part of the game, right? The increasing your ability or engine, if you will. And I wanted that to be like a viable winning strategy, but it's not. So I think it's going to always be one that it's like you dip into and then go do manuscripts. Or you dip into and you go to castle. But I still had fun. This game's good. Though I will say, the more I play it, the more I find that this is probably the one that the expansions are the least necessary. While they do add extra building stuff, right, and those like decent for the buildings, what they add for the manuscripts is minute. It's like
they added like one starting one.
They add a starting one, and then they add those like effects that I don't find powerful enough to like. It's trading.
I forget about them.
It's like trading resources for coin or whatever they were. And then the castle one, right? It just adds random castle, a random leader,
castle
right?
leader
So
cards.
it does not change that at all. And then everything else is like borderline bloat.
I do. Yeah.
Right. It's like.
Yeah.
It's there, it does something, but not necessarily.
I like the treasure chests, but definitely do without.
Yeah, and the treasure chests, like, they add a unnecessarily luck factor in that, like, if you're doing manuscripts, right, and
Hey,
nothing,
Dennis, thanks for joining
nothing increases your little or your little cross and cross.
Yeah. Clerics.
Then like they're gonna do you no good throughout the entire game, right? If they're all ones that affect like, oh, this gives you more hammers or right? And so like I like it because it's like it's a cool, neat effect if they're gonna work. And mine did on my solo, right? Like I got ones that actually worked really well, but I've also had the exact opposite where it's like I'm literally plugging this in for victory points and nothing else. Like it's not giving me. I'm getting more, whatever the castle symbol is, and I'm not doing one thing with the castle.
Yeah, this is one that I always ignore, like the King's Orders, the Outsiders. Excuse me. Like I generally always I have them out there, I have them set up, but for the most part, I do just ignore them because
I've had a solo game where I've done very well with the Outsiders, but like that is in itself like, I'll call it a chore, in that like you have to get the King's Order card. You then have to,
when it drops off,
let it go all the way through, and it has to drop off. And you got to hope that the market hasn't changed by that point in time.
For the one that you want.
For the one that you want, that you're then going to create some sort of in-game scoring. And the in-game scorings are typically decent.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of ask for it. And then it's like, so you start with one King's Order. You have to then go buy another King's Order to do that entire process again, you know? And that's, I agree. Now, it does let you possibly get more heroes. I take it or leave that. Like, it's cool, but it's like not necessary. You know?
And then we talked about this when I soloed this one. They just, the setup, the rule books, the 3 rule books, the setup.
It needs like a condensed, what's going on, Dennis?
It needs a condensed version.
A condensed, like, because if you have if you have both expansions, you have to literally go through 3 rule books for the setup. And then the setup of the solo. It needs to be all condensed together. But
for me, overall, this is my number 1 Garfield game. I love it. I know it's not yours.
It's not. I don't know. I have to think there is some bias in my part that I cannot help, right? I play games to win, and I've never won. It's probably the exact same thing for you, whether you like can help it or not. You've always won this one, right? And so there's always going to be this natural ingrained bias on both ends of things, on like me
never
lowering
winning it and me
you raising it. And so the truth is, it probably sits somewhere between when you really get down to the brass tacks of it, because we both have those ingrained biases. But yeah, it's I will play it again, like, and try one of those other strategies, but like, I'm afraid that will take the fun of it. The fun of it for me is the building. Like getting to do, eventually by the end of it, I have all the powers unlocked, and that's really cool to me. Like being able to move further, and whenever I recruit, I also get to discard cards, so I'm cycling more, and getting every single one of those things. But not getting to do that, I'm afraid, like, even if I come out winning, right? So I decide I'm going to go hard on castle.
Did you win in a fun way?
Is the castle what I want to do, right? And it's kind of not, because that's not the thing I enjoy doing in the game.
And see, that for me, that's what's really fun, is the castle is bumping the people around and then making that chain reaction and then making that chain. Like, to me, that's the fun of the game, right?
I also find the castle is the one that is... It hits a point where it is full, right? Like you hit a point,
because then as soon as you go in there, it's helping me also,
right? That it begins actually. So you have to gather a whole bunch of gold. To begin with, but then once you hit a point, like you're actually getting gold back, and like you don't ever have to go get resources again, and it just kind of takes care of itself from there. The only part is it can stall out, but at that point, do you have just plenty of points and it doesn't matter anyway, right? So I don't know.
Anyway. Tay, 8 in a row. It's quite a bit.
Your solo winning is not important, but like you're naturally gonna have that, right? So I don't know. We played this, we'll call it 3 times together, and I've lost 3, right? Paul's won 3. So I'm like, do I like this game? I don't know. You know, it's unfortunately hard, right? I'm sure there are plenty of games where I have won, and that is going to biasly increase my likelihood of liking them. I think it's very natural, right? When someone gives you a dopamine hit, you like it, right? And I very much get my dopamine from winning. I've said that before. I play games to win. I keep track of my winning stats, right? And like,
to see.
I've had plenty of those games where like my heart's kind of racing a little bit as we're doing final scoring because I think I did it and I hope I did it. And like, all right, I did it, and that feels really good.
Gugong.
So now, that's like the feeling that has taken over the entire gameplay. And so like, oh, I really like this game because like I got all of these nice endorphins out of it.
Yeah, that makes
and then
sense.
on the opposite end of it, you get crushed real bad in a game, you know, or you lose multiple times in a game, right? That is the feeling that you have, and it doesn't matter how much of the fun mechanic was. There's going to be the emotional, oh man, I just got completely crushed. This was miserable, right? Even if you were having fun in the course of that, when it all came down to it, that's like the feeling that dominates. So,
yeah.
Anyway, that was very much of a tangent.
Ooh, there was another letter after that one.
Zhengguo. Zhengguo, the First Empire. I just knocked all this crap over.
Zhengguo.
Sure.
Zhengguo.
Yeah, I played this one solo as well. Probably another one that I don't need to solo again. You know, I would much rather just play with people. I mean, I always am, again, like to win, so I want to play with people, and I don't typically have challenges with bots.
Did it not allow you to play the normal game?
No, it did. See, for me, I used to like judge solos like on that. Like I would be like, oh, this lets me play the game, right? I love doing that, you know. I've kind of like just gotten. I think I played so many solos. I used to buy games for a solo. Like I would play like, oh, I'm getting this game because it has a solo. Now every game has a solo, whether it should or shouldn't. That I don't know. I would much rather explore the game. Right, Ezra and Nehemiah is a great example, right? If I played, let's call it normal, I will never lose that game. I can explore every path there is. I'll never lose that game. That's not really fun for me. I would much rather explore that game with somebody competing at also trying to figure out the thing as well, you know? And that's how this was.
Yeah, that's what we talked about with Ezra and Nehemiah. It's the scrolls, right? Like that's the the strategy. So if you and I were playing the game that I played, right, it's like we both see that, and even the one that you played, it's just like we're not going to let each other get both of those, right? Like you might get one, I might get one, but that's going to change it up, right? If like the bot's not going to do that, it's not going to get both of them.
If you remember our playthrough, we either did live or for the video. Can't remember which one we did, but I think you were doing red stuff, right? I bought a scroll that affected red stuff solely. I didn't do red stuff the entire game. Yep. I bought it because I can't let you have that. That is what I want in a game, right? Like I want there to be a chance that like the person I'm playing sees the same strategy I do and like can get in my way, or vice versa. I can get in their way. I
think with this game specifically, like there is a ton of player interaction based on the cards that you're playing.
Yeah, and so that's completely it too.
That's really what you need.
You need to know, and it does simulate that where like, because if you remember, it's like 3 decks that have a range of cards, and you have the bot that you can see what cards they have and the chance, is going to be higher or lower. But with players, it's very different, right? Like that becomes more manipulatable whenever it's like,
well, I know this card is next.
Yeah, I'm going to play this because he's going to play that, and I can then go lower. Whereas with Paul, it's like, ooh, I can't. I know this one is very low, but this one's not as low. I don't know if I can risk it. But overall, I forgot how good Zhengguo is. What did I do? I think I did the boat track. And I had stuff that gave me stuff on the boat track. If I remember right, that's what I did. Yeah, I don't know. That was it. That was it.
Yeah, that was a long one.
Yeah.
But look at that, we even had a letter Z game.
A letter Z game.
A V and a Z. I was surprised those came out. Yeah. Yeah, that was it. There's a bunch of games, a bunch of solos this month. Not tons of time together.
We played 4 games together this month.
Yeah.
So
out of 28, that's
I don't
pretty
think
good.
the rest weren't all solos, but
Well, for the most part, yeah.
Between 28 games, Paul and I actually only played together 4 of them. So
Yeah.
it was. And this month might not be much better, actually. This is a pretty busy month, too.
November will be good. November will be real good.
November will be...
We've got my birthday
Is your
weekend.
weekend fall in November, or is it October?
It's November.
Okay.
End of November. Or beginning of November.
Yeah, so
First
November.
weekend. And then we got BGG Con.
So y'all stick it through till December when...
when we talk about November
4-hour
games.
stream of talking about games.
Yeah, 28 games took us 2 hours, 30 minutes almost to do.
Sorry, I went on some tangents there.
It's all good.
That's how it is.
It's all good. Yeah, those were all of our games. If you're still in the chat, what were some of your favorite games that you played this month?
Tell us the best we played.
Tell us which ones you want to play that we have played.
We should start doing that. What is the best game we played this month? I don't...
Best game I played this month was...
Probably Inventors. Probably... Yeah, we'll go with Inventors.
I'm going to go with Praga. I really enjoyed it. So
I do want to play it.
I will caveat that by saying I really enjoyed the multiplayer board game arena playthrough of it more than the solo play. But based on how the solo plays, I think that, I know how it plays multiplayer now, right? So
playing with people's better.
For most games, yeah. For most games, I would agree with that. So
playing with people is better.
Yeah, let's see. So what else we got this month? We've got an Age Contrived coming up on Tuesday, I think. We've got a Rolling Realms Redux review coming up. Dead of Winter Long Night.
Dennis, real quick, what is different between Dead of Winter and Dead of Winter Long Night? I actually don't know that. So anyway,
I didn't realize that was other games.
I think maybe I'm wrong. I just sometimes see it as Long Night.
Oh, that could be. Yeah, and then actually in October 28th, if you guys haven't seen that, I will be live streaming with Steve from Co-op Guild. We're gonna be doing a Horrified live stream, so that should be fun.
Yeah, and then I think I will not miss any more Wednesday solos. I didn't get a chance to do Inventor, so I thought about plugging it in there, but I think I'll just stick to the schedule, which was Tallon Tensuyu, Watch, and...
I think that was it. Caverna.
I'm excited for that one. That was a game that I think the solo is going to be relatively trash, but it's it's one you talk about getting to explore. There's nothing. It's just play the game.
Go.
Yeah, play the game. Nobody's blocking anything. You can do whatever you want.
Comes with 3 modular expansions.
Okay.
Pablo lost 4 games.
It's the base game with the modular expansions.
Pablo, I hope you get to try out Terraforming Mars again. It is such a great job. Such a great game.
It happened. I mean, it's hard to...
If you're playing with people that know the game, it's very tough to do well, because I know, like Devin and I, we've played the app so many times that it's like literally like, oh, whatever the card name is, I know what it does, right? Like,
yeah.
I forget what they are off the top of my head, but it's like, oh, I know exactly what that does. I don't even have to look at it. Kind of
like at this point, I can, because I've played probably 4 billion games on the app. I can know within 2 generations exactly what my strategy is, like, regardless of what cards are about to come out.
Yeah.
Like, I know I'm going heavy on X.
I agree. But I do hope you get to try that one again.
I'll say I enjoy the app in that some games I'm like, I'm gonna rush this. I'm gonna, and then some games I'm like, I am going to stall this out and score 198 points.
Have you gotten that high?
No, I think 157 is my highest that I remember.
With expansions? Probably.
I've had those for a while. They now have the Venus Next, which is relatively new, but.
Yeah. Let's see. It added art for survivors.
He's talking about
for Dead of Winter. So yeah, that's all the stuff that we have going on. We appreciate everybody being here. I know this was a longer one, but it's good for us to be back together. I think this might be our only together live stream.
It is.
Yeah.
All month.
I will be heading up all of the Friday live streams from here until the end of the month. But yeah, should be good. I've got all those games up on the schedule. Hey Steve, thanks for coming by. Appreciate you being here. So yeah, I think that's all that we got. Until next time.
Yep. Catch y'all later.
Have a good one.